Good morning, students. Now let us move ahead with our next topic of the same chapter. Now we are going to discuss here the primary industries. We already yesterday we have seen about three types of industry are there: primary industry, secondary industry, and tertiary industry. Now we are going to discuss. So what is primary industry here? Primary industry include all those industries which are concerned with the extraction of natural resources and reproduction of living species. Now, this type of industry are basically based on the extraction of the natural resources or somehow connected with the nature. Now, these industries can further be classified into two categories: extractive industries and genetic engineering. Okay, genetic industries. So basically genetic engineering come out from my mouth. So genetic engineering also belongs to the same industry. Those who do genetic engineering, they go in genetic industry. Let us discuss one by one now. Extractive industry. The extractive industry are those which involve extraction of something from natural resources such as mineral from earth, fish from rivers and seas, timbers from forest, etc. The product of extractive industry can be directly used or become the raw material for other industry. Now extractive industry are basically the industries which are based on the nature, and these natural elements which are found inside the earth crust such as mineral which are extracted. There are various metals which are extracted like iron we extract from the earth crust. Similarly there are different phosphorus, potassium, manganese, so all these different type of minerals. So there are some companies, even there are some industries we used to use in our home appliances also. Like in home appliances like fan, there is a coil which is made up of copper or aluminum. Now how do we extract this aluminum and copper? Definitely these there are some ores in which they are found. So all this aluminum, iron is extracted from hematite, like that bauxite. So there are ores, and there are industries which does the work of extraction. So such type of company which does the extraction work is called as extraction industry. Similarly there are various shipping companies which are indulged into the making of the fish related products. In the countries like USA, they get fish in a packed tin box. So that box is basically just contains the fish. So how does it form? So there are some companies which catch the fishes from the seas, lakes or rivers, and they finally process it. So this type of industries which extract the things like from the rivers or just like from the forest, this timber means wood is also very important for making furnitures. The bark of the trees are important for making pulp for the papers. So all these things are extractive industry as they are somehow connected with the nature. So one thing that it can be processed into a finished goods, or it will be the kind of thing which will just work like raw material for the other industries. Like for if you making sugar, the raw material will be sugar cane. Okay, just like for making this yarns or this threads, the cotton will be used. Now cotton is a raw material for the same purpose, and these are extracted from the nature. Now genetic engineering. Now the industries involved in the activities of rearing and breeding of living organisms, birds, plants, animals, etc. are known as genetic industry. For example, rearing of cattle for milk, dairy farm, poultry farm, rearing of plants in nursery, growing fishes in the ponds, pisciculture, etc. included in the genetic industries. Now here, as the population has increased, there was an increase in demand for all the different types of goods, such as even the birds, plants, animals, because all these things are very important. Just like the worms are used to make silk, the silk worm are used because there is a huge demand in a country like India for silk saris. Same way, there various plants are being produced, living organisms, because we need food to eat, and there are hybrid seed for growing such kind of food articles in the process of agriculture. So all these farmer used to purchase the seed from the market. So production of the farmers of any kind of crop by using this hybrid seed, which are nothing but a good example of genetic engineering. So they do the some changes in the genetically in order to increase the production and just feed the population which is increasing continuously. So this genetic industry is also very important. Just like in the other cases of rearing of cattle for milk consumption, dairy farms, poultry farms. So poultry is related with the process of chicken. So there are some injections. Because of this injection, some poultry products are there, such as eggs. So by injecting the chickens, they lay more eggs, which can be used to sell in the market. So these type of products are there in the genetic industry. So this is a part of primary industry, because in the first extractive industry something is extracted, and the other one there is some they are doing something with the genes of the living organism, plants and animals. This is called as genetic industry. Now let's move forward toward the secondary industries. Now the secondary industries make use of the products which are extracted and produced by the primary industry. Now whatever this primary industry is producing or just bringing it from the nature, these companies are there and they do the further production. They just make the finished goods out of that raw material. So the final product of this primary industry can be used by this secondary industry for making some finished goods. Okay, just like if in primary industry we say that farmer is there, he's growing cotton, then this cotton is purchased by the textile mills to make cloth. So here let's read it, the secondary industry, which are whichever the thing they're extracted and produced by the primary industry, so they're using it as raw material and converting into finished products. So example which is given here is mining of the iron ore is done in the primary industry. Now mining of the iron ore, iron is extracted from hematite ore. Now this is the example of primary industry. So it is also used in making steel manufacturing, and this steel manufacturing is done in secondary industry. Now these are two kinds of secondary industry: manufacturing industry and construction industry. Now first, manufacturing industries. These industries are engaged in the process of conversion of raw material into semi-finished goods into finished goods. These industries create from utility by changing the form of raw material into the finished goods. For example, timber is converted into furniture, iron into steel, sugarcane into sugar, cotton into clothes. Now, manufacturing industry, what is the job of this manufacturing industry? They do the conversion of the raw material. Raw material is the thing which is of no utility. Suppose a cotton is given to you, you are not going to wear cotton instead of shirt and go out in the market. It is not possible. So utility has to be added to that cotton, which is a product of primary industry. So the first thing, some industry will be there which will make the spinning threads will be made, and that thread will be converted to the clothes, then that cloth will be sold to in the market. So they just add the utility, so they just convert the raw material into finished products or ready to use product by the consumers. Another example is using the timber. Now timber is nothing but wood. Wood is of no use until it is given some kind of shape. Giving shape like furniture, like sofas and beds, then it is useful for us. Or table or furniture, any kind of furniture made up of wood, then its utility will be there. Simply of a wood, if you cut down the tree, and that tree will be of no use unless and until we change the shape of that. Now the manufacturing industries produce two types of goods, that is here the consumer goods, industrial goods, analytical industry, synthetic industry. So let us first understand about the two goods, consumer good and industrial good. So these are the two goods which are being made by the industries. Now Consumer good are the good which can directly be consumed by the consumer are known as consumer good. These goods are used for day-to-day consumption, for example cloth, oil, soap, bread, shampoos, etc. Now consumer good is a daily use product which has been purchased by the people, which satisfy a person directly. Like why do we buy a shampoo or a soap or some chocolates? Because it is a consumer good and it directly satisfies our need. Now if you are eating a chocolate, then actually you are simply eating because you just want to have it. Now this is the kind of thing which straight away gives you satisfaction, and these are called as consumer goods. Now the other type of goods are industrial goods. So these type are good like machinery and big refrigerators, this big generators. So these goods are produced for manufacturing. Consumer goods are known as industrial goods like machinery, equipment, tools, etc., which are required to manufacture consumer goods. Now all these machinery, equipments and tools which are being made, so these are for the use of the industries. Industries means secondary sector. There are some industries which use this equipment to do further production of those consumer goods. Suppose if you take example of Parle-G biscuit, now this Parle-G biscuit is an example of consumer good. Now this consumer good is been purchased by a consumer, but for making that biscuit they need machinery, and this machinery will be capital good or industrial good. Okay, so that machinery will be used to produce more such kind of biscuits. So the machinery which is used, it is a part of industrial good, and the biscuit itself is a consumer good. Now manufacturing industries are of following types. Analytical industry. In analytical industry, the basic raw material is broken down into different parts for producing finished product. For example, crude oil is processed and many finished products such as petroleum, diesel, kerosene oil, gasoline are manufactured here. So analytical product is a kind of product which is just used like a raw material. Like we import crude oil from the eastern countries like Iran, Iraq, and we just use that and we convert it into the finished products like petroleum, and there are some byproducts such as kerosene, diesel, gasoline. Even Vaseline is a good example of petroleum jelly. So these are of part of analytical industries. Now the another one is synthetic industry. All these are examples of manufacturing industries, so don't get confused. So synthetic industry is what? Many times you hear this word synthetic. So synthetic industries, two or more material are mixed to manufacture some new products. For example, various chemicals are mixed to produce soaps, paints, cosmetic, etc. So all these soap, paints and cosmetic which use in the daily life are example of synthetic industry in which two or more than two chemicals and substances are mixed, and by that we just make some product which is useful in the market. Now processing industry. In processing industry, the raw material is processed through various stage of production and then finished goods are manufactured. For example, textile industry, iron and steel industry, sugar industry, etc. Now processing industry work in the different types of stages of production, and then the finished goods are made. Just like if you take example of textile industry, as I told you in the beginning, what happens, this cotton will be purchase, then that cotton will be converted into threads, then these threads will be converted into clothes, and then clothes will be converted into shirts. So this work from starting to the end, it is having different types of stages of production. So these such industries are called as processing industry. In iron and steel industry also, now we extract this iron from the hematite ore, then all this in the blast furnace, all this reaction goes on and smelting is done of the iron in the blast furnace. After that it is crushed, and so after that this pig iron which is impure quality is formed. After that some impurities are removed, then get this wrought iron which is pure iron. Okay, then it is converted somehow into this steel by mixing some other elements as well. So this is the example of processing industry. Now assembling industry. Now assembling industry, in this industry the various finished products are combined. Okay, so here they are talking about the finished products and they are combining to produce a new finished product. For example, manufacturing of computers, television, watches, automobiles, and even your mobile phones. So assembling industry is nothing but if you just think about you are having a laptop. If you open this laptop, so what you will find, the motherboard will be of Asus company. So Asus is a company which manufacture this motherboard. There will be some equipments like speaker, may be possible that it will be of some Sony brand or some other brand. The just the other cases the monitor will be of some other companies. From China the various raw materials will be purchased to manufacture such kind of things. So from different parts of the world these are assembled, and they are just converting those small parts which are imported from the other countries to make one complete product. Just like mobile phone is also the same thing. You find different types of parts which are being purchased or imported from the other countries, and assembling is done in India. This is how the various goods are manufactured. Now after this assembly industry, we will be understanding about this construction industry. Now these industries are concerned with the construction of the building, dams, roads, etc. As the name suggests, constructions are basically done for the buildings, dams and roads. These things are very important in a country for infrastructure development. These industries use the products of manufacturing industries such as cement, iron, steel, lime, etc. Now this cement, iron, steel, rod which we purchase from the market simply to make our houses, buildings, etc. So all these things are used in the construction industries. Now the unique feature of this industry is that their product cannot be transferred or shifted to the market. They are constructed and remain at one site only. Now the here the in this industry, if their product, what is the product of such a construction industry? It can be a big building, a big residency, or just a kind of big society which is made by some builders. Now this builder used to make all these big buildings, but you cannot move this building from one place to the other place. These buildings are going to stay at one place only. So it is not possible to transfer that building or shift that building to the other areas. So these are just a kind of thing which will remain fixed at one site only. Now we'll go through the classification of the commerce. Now here we can classify the commerce into two things. When we say commerce, it is the addition of the two things, that is trade and aids to trade. When we say trade, we talk about internal trade and external trade. Trade which is going inside India and trade which is going with the other rest of the parts of the world. Okay, so here the things which are supporting this trade, such like services like banking, insurance, or logistic services. So all these services which help the trading activities. So together trade and aids to trade are called as commerce. Now trade is an integral part of commerce. Okay, because commerce, this word is made up of two things, this is trade and aid to trade. That's why this commerce is nothing, trade is nothing but it is an integral part of commerce. Okay, now it refers to buying and selling of goods and services. The trade segment of the commerce bring together the manufacturer and the consumer. So what's the trade? Trade means it's an activity where we buy the goods and services in exchange of money. So that is called a trade. So here a consumer is sold some kind of good by the manufacturer. Now the traders are the entities here which act as the link between the manufacturer and the consumer. In the absence of the traders, the manufacturer will have to search for consumers and the consumer will have to search for the manufacturers. Now suppose if there be no traders, then it is very difficult for the manufacturer to find the consumers in the market. Okay, so here the role of the traders are very important. They are the one who actually go to the market and find out the demand of the product by taking surveys and they find the consumers for such kind of manufacturer. Now this trade can be classified into two types: internal trade and external trade. When we say internal trade refers to buying and selling of goods and services within the geographical boundaries of country. Okay, so inside the India, suppose India is the boundary and your trade is happening inside the India. Now it is called as home trade. Okay, under internal trade, goods and services are bought and sold in the home currency only. Now suppose if you are doing business only in India, then you will have to simply deal with rupees. Okay, because no international currency like dollar or Japanese yen or something like other currencies are used here. So this is the internal trade. It takes place in home currency only. In India it will be done in rupees. Okay, now wholesale trade and retail trade are the example. Now what is wholesale trade? It refers to the buying and selling of the services and goods in the large quantity. The wholesaler buy good directly from the manufacturer and sell these goods to the retailer. Okay, generally wholesaler is specialized in one line of product. He maintains a large stock. He buys goods from for cash from the manufacturer and sell on credit to the retailer. A large amount of capital is required in the wholesale trade. So here there is one type of trade which is called as wholesale trade, and it is been done in the kind of thing where a manufacturer will be selling to the wholesaler trader, because a businessman will be there who will be indulged into wholesale type of business, and he will be specialized in purchasing one type of commodity, like say for example plastic goods. So he will be purchasing all such kind of plastic goods from different manufacturers, but he will buying it in a very large quantity. And what they used to do, this wholesale guys, they used to pay this manufacturer in cash. So company directly get, or manufacturer directly get cash for their products from this, and they don't have to wait. So this is the good thing about the wholesale trade. Now the thing is that on the other side, they are paying in cash to this manufacturer, and on the other side they are selling it to the retailers. But they're selling these things to the retailer on credit, means they are giving them some time to pay the amount after some time, like 1 month or 2 month time period. So here a large amount of capital is required in wholesale trade, because you will have to deal in large quantities. Okay, now second one is retail trade, which is done on a small purchase and sale basis. Now it refers to buying and selling of goods and services in small quantities. The retailer buy goods from the wholesaler and sell these goods to the ultimate consumers. Okay, now retail is a kind of trade, like in your a local area you might have seen a small retail shop, a general store. So that is a retail trade, where he will be buying and selling, because this all these wholesalers, they used to sell these products to the retailers, and the retailers sell it to you. Now they will be selling the to the consumer in a very less quantity, because they will be keeping so many goods. In general store you will find pen, pencil, rubber, soap, shampoos of different types of companies. So all these this wholesale trade, they used to contact the retailers, and they will be coming to them, and they will take order from them, and they will just then fulfill those orders. That's why, that is the reason, when you go to the retail shop, there will be lot of product available with them, like toothpaste, shampoos, and chocolates, and various type of plastic buckets will be there. Even some snacks or biscuits will be there. So all these are just sold by these wholesale traders. And these retail traders, they will just interact with the consumer directly. So these retail traders are in very good contact with the consumer. They know the taste and preference of the consumer, and they also purchase from this wholesale trade peoples according to the taste and preference of the people, and time to time they give feedback to the wholesale traders. Now we'll talk about external trade here. What is external trade? Now external trade is very simple to understand. It refers to buying and selling of goods and services beyond the geographical limit of the country. It is a trade between two or more countries. Just remember this much. So what is external trade? When you are selling your goods and services or purchasing goods and services from the other country, and it is a trade between one country and the other country, like India is purchasing something from China. So here two countries are involved, India and China. So it is called as internal trade. Now here the China will be paid in their currency if you are purchasing something from the China. So it is called as import. In import, what we do, we purchase some goods from China. Okay, so if China is here and India is here, so we purchase something from China to India, then you will have to pay China in their currency. This is called as import, yes, because you are buying from China. On the other case, suppose this is India here again, this is India here, and this is China, and you are selling something, you are selling here something to China, then China will pay you in your currency, that is rupees. So this thing is called as export here. So export means it refers to the sale of goods to a foreign country. Okay, and here import refers to the buying of goods from a foreign country. Now it can be any good or services. So if you're buying a good or a service, doesn't matter, it is called as import and export. Now the third thing is entrepot. It refers to the import of goods for the purpose of export. In entrepot, the goods are purchased from one foreign country but not for consumption in home country, but for selling these goods to some other countries. Suppose this is India. Okay, now here is another country like it is USA, say for example, America it is, and one country is there, it is called as Sri Lanka. Now what is happening? Suppose from Sri Lanka we are importing something like coconuts. Okay, now we are not going to use these coconuts in India. We are simply going to just re-export it to other country like USA. This coconut will be going to the USA for making some coconut oil over there. Now here you can see the Sri Lanka is importing some goods to India, but here from Sri Lanka goods exported to India. Now India is not going to use such kind of coconuts here because they have to export it further to USA. So here it will be used in USA. So this thing is called as entrepot. So here again the re-export will be done by India. So here that's why they are saying in entrepot the goods are purchased from foreign country, like here we are purchasing from Sri Lanka, but we are not going to consume it. We are going to export it to USA. That is called as entrepot. So this topic is there for today. Now thank you. We'll be continuing in our next lecture.